going on, everybody? Welcome to Milwaukee's Best NBA Podcast. I'm Aaron Priest with Tyler Tea Time English. We got a great show for you tonight. It's the Thanksgiving special, the first ever Thanksgiving special. Your girlfriend says hi, it looks like.
Oh, what's up, Madison?
We're excited. Let's get this going. First, we want to ask you questions we're asking tonight. Is the East better than you think? What do you guys think about the Eastern Conference with how it's going so far? We have a lot of great teams that are performing better than we expected, and maybe it's a little tougher than, maybe not than you think, because you said you don't think the East is that bad before.
Yeah, but no, I never thought the East was bad. Most times, most people try to argue that when they try to dethrone LeBron, but just because he's been running the show so long, the East has always had competition. Maybe not as much as the West, but it's not like they're, nobody over there is trash. Not nobody. Most teams over there aren't trash.
There's still Chicago and Atlanta.
Exactly.
And then the other question we want to know is what are your Thanksgiving plans, and just let us know what you're doing, and maybe we'll read some of them off. I'm going to Chicago tomorrow.
I'll be playing football at 8 o'clock in the morning.
We got a football game.
That should be pretty fun there.
Flag football, nothing like Thanksgiving flag football.
A little tradition there. Mm-hmm. And then, after that, it's food time. I've been waiting for this since last year.
Yep.
Thanksgiving.
It's one of my few cheat days out of the year, And of course, tonight is everyone's favorite night, Blackout Wednesday.
There you go.
So I'm having a couple watching the Bucks game tonight. Probably watch them lose because Giannis isn't playing.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, we don't have to. We don't have to watch it. We don't have to watch it. There'll be other games on, right? Something on ESPN.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But no, I got to watch my Bucks. And Madison said she bought a 22-pound turkey for 8 people.
Yep, I have a lot of leftovers there.
I better get some of those. All right, let's get into it. We got to start with some news right away, and that guy right there, Ray Allen, got catfished.
Oh, that makes me sad. That makes me so sad.
It's so bad because he's getting taken to court for it. Not only did he get catfished, but now he's getting taken to court. And well, what else can you say? And now I don't remember. We're not going to talk too much about this because
it's going to be ongoing. This is going to be drug out. I know it is.
We'll keep you updated, but it sounds like he's getting taken to court by the guy who catfished him. This is a guy who is posing as multiple women, typical catfish. But that sucks, man. I mean, I wonder if it's happened to other NBA players,
Oh, it has all the time. I'm sure that happens all the time.
Right. We got our next bit of news here. Isaiah Thomas, he's been rehabbing. He's been doing some drills and he's getting back to form.
It's a good sign for Cleveland there.
Yeah, and Cleveland's picked it back up actually, and maybe Isaiah will give them the shot in the arm that they need to get back to the finals.
What are they? 5 in a row there, huh?
Yeah, I believe
5
so.
5 in a row.
At the time where I prepared this show, I prepared it on Sunday thinking we were going to do it Monday. So some things have happened that we might not be able to cover tonight. But if you heard something that we didn't, since Monday through Wednesday, I've been kind of trying to get extra long work days so I could have Friday off. But we still got plenty of good stuff for you. But yeah, Isaiah's rehabbing and. I guess things are going according to plan. He's not behind his schedule. He's still on slate to be back in February, right?
Yeah,
February
between January and February. Yeah. That's what I heard.
So, Only thing, I mean, it doesn't really help the Cavs defensively because Isaiah's not really known.
No. I wouldn't go that far.
Are you sure?
Isaiah Thomas, he was a top steal guy last year. I got to actually pull up some of those stats there. Isaiah Thomas has some really good defense. Really good defense.
But he's not known as a lockdown.
I wouldn't say that. That's
I've never heard of him.
I'll pull him up.
There's another question we can ask you. Anyone listening, is Isaiah Thomas a lockdown defender? Let us know. We want to know what you think. As always, you can. Our Twitter handles are in the mention if you want to, or our Twitter handles are in the description if you want to tweet at us at all during the podcast. Feel free and we'll answer. Yeah, so Isaiah's he's gonna give he's gonna do a couple things for Cleveland. I guess if what you say, he's gonna provide you with some steals. He's also gonna give you he's gonna give LeBron an option to kick out when he drives if the lane's too clogged. Which, I mean, it's LeBron, so he never really has a problem driving into the basket. But he gives Isaiah Thomas is instant offense. You know, he comes in, he's got a 3-point shot. I've seen against the Bucks when I go to Bucks games when I went against the Celtics, he was just making. Is he gonna pull up there? Like, did he just pull up from there for 3? And it's splash like.
I've been getting all the hate for the last few weeks here. Everybody thinks that Cleveland's going down the drain. All the Celtics is getting ready to run the show. I said it,
I'll admit it.
But you got to realize, okay, first of all, Cleveland what are they, in a 5-game winning streak right now? So that, and this is all without Isaiah Thomas. LeBron's been running the show over there. He's been working pretty hard. You got Kevin Love putting in some work there too. But Isaiah Thomas... Do we not remember last season when he was 3rd or 4th in MVP race, and the most points in the fourth quarter, most points per game in the fourth quarter in the NBA? He led the league in the NBA for most points in the fourth quarter. That's a major accomplishment. That just means he's clutch.
Yeah, he's super clutch.
So that just obviously LeBron. We know, and I'll be one of the first to admit, LeBron isn't the go-to scorer at the end of the game. I think he's just, picked that up as he's played. The pressure's always on him, but he's always had great shooters and great players around him, so he kicks it out. So imagine him kicking it out to Isaiah Thomas, who usually has the ball in their hand. That's just it's just gonna be money. He knocks down threes. He goes to the rack. Isaiah Thomas is a big key piece for Cleveland there.
I want to look at the Cavs' last couple games while they've been on this winning streak. I see some of their matchups.
If I remember correctly, I think most of those games were on the road.
Yeah. They beat the Clippers at home, and they finally blew out a team. I was waiting for, besides the Bucks.
Yeah.
They beat the Pistons on the road 116-88, and they're starting to show that they can hold teams below 100 points. It was their defense that was their biggest struggle. It wasn't we all know they can hit threes any night, but it's their defense. It's getting their team to buy in and just give the effort, and a lot of teams have problems giving that effort night in and night out during the long 82-game NBA season.
I'll go against what you're saying. I say it's their offense. Their offense is just looking completely different from, the start of the year. They're averaging more points per game, and, it's not just LeBron doing it. Well, at the same time it is, but LeBron's running the show there. We know that, even last game he put up 39 points when he beat, when they blew out Detroit. But everybody else is, I think, starting to buy into that system,
Right.
You got Kevin Love. He's been killing it this year. I think Kevin Love, he needed Kyrie leaving to kind of boost up his stats a little bit.
Now, before that win against the Pistons, the Cavs hadn't held a team under 100 points since they did so against the Bucks on October 20th. So it took them a month to get a team back down under 100 points. And that's why I said let's see here, they gave up 123 Pelicans, 124 to the Pacers, 114 to the Knicks, 122 to the Wizards, but they won, 117 to the Hawks.
But, I guarantee, you're just looking at the Cavs stats right now, but I guarantee if you go back to other teams in the league, 100 points is easy to get now.
It is, but
we live in a 3-point era, so we're shooting a lot of 3-pointers per game, and offense. If you look at the numbers from last year compared to the rest of, I don't have those exact numbers in front of me, but last year was it was the highest offensive rating or as an entire league
since the 70s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most more 3-pointers, more points per game. So, we live in an era where we're just going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, all I'm saying is it helps to hold them under. You give yourself a better chance when you I'm pretty sure they're undefeated. Yeah, they're undefeated when they hold teams under 100 points.
Yeah.
So let me make sure that's correct. Yep. 1, 2. They've only done it 3 times. So, but if they do that, they have the ability to play defense. Like people like Jeff Green and Jay Crowder, they're defenders, man. They're known for their defense, and they just need to commit and convince the other team that, hey, just play even if it's just a little more, we can win a couple more of these games and not lose ugly games to like the Hawks or the Nets,
But again, what my whole point was they're in the beginning of the season, and this is still the beginning of the season. They're still molding right now. So for them to put together a 5-game stretch after having one of the worst starts that Cleveland, one of the worst starts that LeBron's ever had, they're putting it together well.
They turned it around.
And then a month or two from now, you got Isaiah Thomas coming back. That is huge.
Yep.
That is huge. A lot of people are going to count them out, but Cleveland's going to be obviously another top contender. They might just get back to the finals again.
Yeah. I've never heard you say Mike before with that sentence, but yeah, with the way Boston's playing, I think Boston's everyone's favorite right now to get back.
Right, exactly.
We'll get to Boston. Let's change the subject here, more towards college, I guess, but it's still a guy we have heard way too much from this season, and
2 guys we've heard way too much this year. 2
guys. So, Mr. Donald Trump and LeVar Ball.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna pull up the article here. So basically, all the UCLA players are home now. All right, so they're all home, and they're suspended indefinitely at UCLA. So LiAngelo Ball, obviously, and his 2 teammates.
Good.
Yeah, I really
hope they shouldn't play another day at UCLA. How embarrassing is that for your university to get the opportunity to travel across the world and represent not only the nation but your school? Yeah. And I wouldn't want those kids on my team. At the end of the day, how many people are lining up to go to UCLA? You don't need people like that on your roster. No matter how good they are.
And UCLA is still going to be a good team. They just beat I guess it's a lesser Badger team, but they're ranked 23 right now. They just barely beat the Badgers, but they'll still win games just because they have recruits, and it's UCLA. It's a great program from like all sports. So, but so here is stupid thing. Here's I'm going to read you some of Donald Trump's tweets here. These are combined from like 2 tweets. And I'm sure Donald Trump appreciates the character limit increase for verified accounts.
Yeah.
Because this is definitely not 280 characters, you know. It wasn't the White House, it was the State Department. It wasn't LeVar's so-called people on the ground in China that got his son out of a long-term prison sentence. It was me. I don't believe that. Too bad. LeVar is just a poor man's version of Don King, but without the hair. Just think, LeVar, you could have spent the next 5 to 10 years during Thanksgiving with your son in China, but no NBA contract to support you. What about Lonzo? But remember, LeVar, shoplifting is not a little thing. It's a really big deal, especially in China. Ungrateful fool. So, I mean, there's classic Trump using his Twitter to fight his battles, but I saw LeVar's comments were pretty interesting too, but obviously,
my opinion on it all is LeVar's a clown.
Yeah, they're both clowns.
We know this, and we need to just stop feeding into the nonsense. That's exactly what it is. It's just a circus.
I agree.
But we need to stop feeding into the nonsense. Don't even pay that man any attention. He's got to be. Who wouldn't be grateful for their sons coming back from China after being faced with a 2 to 10 year sentence?
And I think LeVar just wanted to say, "Oh, Trump, it wasn't you. It was your." I don't know how that all works. I'm not a foreign affairs
exactly
expert.
I'm pretty sure LeVar doesn't know how it works either.
Right. All right. So just more drama between two idiots. But on the bright side in the Ball family, Lonzo had another triple-double, so good for him.
There you go.
They can say they're thankful for that around the table if they don't feel like talking about it.
They also came back to beat, who was that last night?
Chicago.
Yeah, they came back to beat Chicago after a 19-point deficit. That was pretty interesting. Even what's his name?
Lonzo,
yeah. So many L's in Lonzo, Laval, LeVar. Wait, LaMelo. LiAngelo.
Yeah, the L's. That
sounds like the Ninja Turtles. No, but he only put up 8 points, and he was like 3 for 13 shooting, 2 for 8 3-pointers, but he did have 13 rebounds. So I don't, as much as the Lakers try to make him the face of the franchise right now, I think
Kyle Kuzma's the face of the franchise right now,
and that's the thing. It's like 3 or 4 other players that's playing better than this guy. Yeah. Like it's over the season course so far. He's not doing anything.
And LeVar came out and said he wants Luke Walton to be tougher on him. He wants Luke Walton to be tougher on Lonzo. And I mean, he's
by putting him on a bench where he deserves,
right? Or just making him, kind of reprimanding him more when he makes mistakes instead of just letting him do his thing, which obviously isn't working. But I mean, I think when Lonzo gets these triple-doubles, that's when you know that Luke Walton is telling him what to do out there versus him just doing Geno Hill stuff and just jacking up threes and Hail Mary passes down on fast breaks. Because that's what Lonzo's known for and that whole family's known for.
Right.
But that's enough on... I get so sick of talking about and all you hear is Lonzo, Lonzo, Lonzo. So we're going to move on. We're going to move on to the hottest team in the NBA right now, and that is the Boston Celtics. They've won 16 straight. They've beaten some great teams along the way in Golden State and Oklahoma City, and they spoiled the Bucks' return to the Mecca, and it's incredible, man. Coach Stevens is a genius. He's my undeniable coach of the year right now.
Yeah, definitely for sure. He, and like I said, I think I said this last time. He's the reason that this team's playing the way they do. He's got one of the youngest rosters in the NBA, and he's just making them look like they've been in the league for, Jaylen Brown and Tatum are just playing out of their minds.
So much poise.
They're playing out of their minds right now. And, no other, I wouldn't say no other young player. I'll just say I think he can turn any player into that. That's just the kind of coach that he is, and that's why he got the NBA job.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know what it is that's working for them right now, but it's Kyrie had a 47-point game the other night, and that was his first breakout game in terms of points. He hadn't really scored I don't think he had scored more than 30 points before that. And he's just been doing what Kyrie does in his new role, and it's just dishing the ball and penetrating deep into the lane and, kicking it out to his teammates and just creating shots for everyone. And you can tell I think Kyrie is a better fit for Boston than Isaiah was, honestly. And maybe I'm just saying that because they won 16 straight, but I believe it. The way Kyrie plays versus the way Isaiah plays is Kyrie brings the tempo, the pace, He gets everyone all out of sorts on defense, and then he has players like Al Horford. His chemistry with Al Horford right now is just... Yeah,
it's pretty amazing. Great. I'll give you that.
I'm not going to lie, when they're playing the Bucks or any time I've watched them, I just love watching the Celtics. They look like a championship caliber team right now, and I think they can give the Cavs a run for their money in the Eastern Conference.
Keywords right now, and I'll just leave it at that. Keywords right now that I don't believe they'll be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Really?
I believe if anything, they'll make it to the second round and get put out.
By who?
If anything.
Who do you think will do it?
A lot of teams. I feel like a lot of teams can beat this Celtic team in a 7-game series. Right now, they're just hot. They're just hot. We've seen this before.
Well, yeah, but last year Washington couldn't even do it. That was the second round.
Yeah, but Washington now compared to last year is a completely different team.
Well, same guys, maybe just more experience.
I feel like whoever's going to be in the playoff in the East is going to give them a run for their money. Obviously, it won't be Cleveland, or maybe we'll just say maybe it won't be Cleveland facing up against the Celtics in the first round or the second round. Right. But you got the Bucks out there, you got the Wizards, you've got the Raptors. We can't forget about them. You've got, it's a few teams that they can face up against that'll give them a tough matchup. Playoff is about matchups.
I think the Bucks could still give them a tough matchup.
Oh, the Bucks will, that's what I said. Bucks was, I feel like if them and the Bucks meet up, and if Giannis can figure it out, they can beat the Celtics in a 7-game series.
Yeah, Giannis just needs to stay healthy. He's got a knee issue right now, but...
Right, that's probably one of his first injuries.
Right. Well, he had that problem going all the way back to last season, and then when he played with the Greece national team, it came back up again, and he missed some time over the summer with the knee injury. But let's get to the top performers of the week. This was a week a lot of players just kind of went off, and a couple of these players we've mentioned before. A couple, I'd say there's a couple new ones that usually never get any credit. We haven't heard Kyle Lowry's name too much during the season. He's had a great week, including a triple-double. 20.5 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 9.0 assists through the last week. So Raptors have been heating up. They're now, I believe, second in the East in front of Detroit. They leapfrogged Detroit, and obviously Boston's number one. But Raptors, I don't have any interest in the Raptors until playoff time because we know what they do during the regular season. And to me, it's if they win 50 games in the regular season, it's meaningless because.
And that's just my point. Don't mean to go back to last.
Raptors.
I don't mean to go back to last topic, but when. Yeah, I don't feel like Boston can hold that record that long, only losing a few games this year. I don't see the Celtics doing that with the squad that they have right now. That's just not I don't feel like that's a championship level team. Especially the bench. The bench is the best person they have off the bench is Marcus Smart coming off the bench right now?
I think so, because I think Marcus Morris is back in the
starting He's
lineup.
The best one coming off the bench, and then who else? Who else can you even name off of
Rozier.
Okay, I'm sorry. Tony Rozier.
Their big guys have been pretty good, too. Aaron Baines, and then...
But that's the thing. When it comes to a playoff series, who's going to perform off of that squad?
I think
they're going to get shut out if they come to certain teams.
I think a Brad Stevens coach team is going to do very well in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
I don't know. But they got swept last year when Isaiah Thomas was out. So imagine if one of their players get injured, or even not even that. Even if they make it, they're fully healthy. I don't see their team, doing that much in the playoffs. Like I said, they got swept by Cleveland last year.
Right. But these are, again, we can talk about more of this later. I want to get through these. Let's get through these top performers, and then we're gonna have a Celtics and Eastern Conference debate here.
Oh boy,
I love it, man. This is some good stuff. Hot take radio, Next top performer of the week, James Harden. We'll say his name a lot, and we'll say it again, but 48 points, 7 assists versus Phoenix. So, I mean...
He's been a top performer in a month. We'll just give him that title right away.
Yep. He snuck back into the MVP conversation. It was dominated by Giannis and then Porzingis, but...
he passed him up in scoring this week, I believe.
Yeah,
I believe James Harden is number one right now.
And Giannis has been dethroned. So...
we knew it was only going to last for so long.
And Bledsoe coming to Milwaukee didn't help either.
Yeah, very true.
The reason I bring up this game that Harden had, though, I more wanted to talk about Houston's performance. They scored 90 points by halftime. 90 points. That's more than some teams score in a game. So at halftime, the score was, I'm pretty sure it was like 90 to like 50 or 60 something. Neither team was playing defense at all. There was nothing. The paint was wide open. James Harden was able to do whatever he wanted. Greg Monroe, who's now on the Phoenix Suns, was standing there like he always does. And the final ended up being 142-116. So
that's just embarrassing.
Yeah, that's like an all-star
game. That's embarrassing.
Jeez. So James Harden, 48 points, 7 assists. So, but I think until he hits 50 again, I'm going to leave him out of this segment because this seems like the norm for James Harden.
There you go.
And CP3's even back too, but I don't think CP3 has really mattered as much because he's been out so far. I think the Houston's just doing the same thing with CP3 being a different guy.
Right.
But I wouldn't call Chris Paul an impact player right now. He just kind of seems like he's... They didn't suffer at all while he was gone, and he comes back, and they've still been doing the same thing. So now here's a real top performer of the week. Joel Embiid is Los Angeles' worst nightmare right now.
He's been killing it.
The Sixers go to both. Two great performances in one building. So they played the Clippers and the Lakers last week. First game against the Lakers, Joel Embiid goes off for 46 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, 7 blocks.
Unbelievable.
That's I don't know the last time I've seen a game that great where someone just completely fills up the spreadsheet and just complete domination, like 46 points. But usually, when you score that many points, well, someone else is getting the rebounds or someone else is getting, the assists. But no, he's getting 7 assists too, and then he blocks 7 blocks in today's NBA is insane.
Yeah,
man.
That's a lot.
Especially when the league, the league leader in blocks will probably come out to be between in the 2.5 to 3 range. That's usually what it is every year. But Joel Embiid he's having a he's having a time out in L.A. Usually a lot of people go to L.A. and they get trapped up in the nightlife, especially the younger players. I know the Bucks had a problem with that last year, the year before. Some guys stayed out too late and got yelled at the practice the next day. But for him to come and just have 2 monster games. The next game wasn't as good, but it was still, 32 points and 16 rebounds versus the Clippers. So he followed it up with so he's, I think he might be, and then, dude, the Sixers right now are finding their groove. They're young guys. Ben Simmons is the rookie of the year.
Yeah,
let's just give it to him now.
For sure.
He's doing everything. We wondered, like, lately just draft picks haven't been panning out exactly, and it's nice to see, like, a draft pick live up to the hype. I know Jason Tatum, but you have Kyle Kuzma, who's a late second rounder, or maybe an early second rounder. I can't remember when he went, but he's been, I'd say he's number 2, and there's Dennis Smith Jr., which I guess we all kind of knew, but like a lot of LiAngelo Ball is not living up to the hype, but these draft picks now, it seems like they get so much hype and just kind of fall flat. But maybe
very true.
Maybe that's also nowadays we expect all these NBA ready players out of college, the one and dones, if you will.
Right.
But it seems like lately the players who have been more successful are Malcolm Brogdon. He played 5 years at Virginia. The guys who stay all 4 years and are develop their basketball skills more than they're just pure athleticism. It's the athletes who go early, they leave college early, but then it's the basketball players, in my opinion, that stay through college but get drafted later and then have a more consistent NBA career. They're less likely to be stars. Their ceiling might be a little lower just because, they stayed and they didn't get drafted right away. So they weren't flashy about it. But with someone like Ben Simmons, who's ready to be a star, people are already comparing him to LeBron, which I don't know if it's... He is kind of like LeBron.
Yeah, the way he plays, he's that kind of all-around player. So, I wouldn't put it past him.
It's just really interesting how draft picks pan out and whatnot. So, I don't think you can take too much stock in when you were drafted anymore.
No, not at all.
Not ever. And
somebody that goes undrafted can come out and, play a huge game.
So, I don't think I've ever mentioned this guy on the podcast before, or I don't think I've heard anyone except in the podcasts I listen to. Rodney Hood, he's been lights out from the 3-point line in the last week. He made 7 3-pointers versus Orlando for 31 points, and then follows it up with 30 points on 6 made 3-pointers versus the Knicks. So maybe, with Gobert and Gordon Hayward leaving the Jazz, this is what the Jazz need. They need someone to step up. They have their rookie Donovan Mitchell playing pretty nice, and Rodney Hood is stepping it up now, so this takes some scoring load off of Ricky Rubio, and Ricky Rubio is not really who you want being your number one scorer.
Not at all.
I think Derek Favors needs to step up too, but
Rodney Hood's always been a pretty decent shooter, and he can get you anywhere between we'll say 10 as a floor and 20, 25 as a ceiling, but he can put some numbers up. We've seen that before, but obviously he was playing in the shadows of Gordon Hayward before. So I think you're right. Maybe now is the time for him to step up.
Right. Yeah, and the Jazz are still winning games too. So
it's pretty surprising.
Well, it's their defense is what wins them their games.
Right.
They have a great defensive system, and that's really been their identity over the last few years, especially since they got Hayward and Gobert. The Jazz, they're going to give everyone a tough night. No one really looks forward to the Jazz because you're not going to if you're someone like Houston, you're not going to say, oh, we're just going to jack up threes anymore. Well, they're going to smother you with their perimeter defense and everything else. And that's why Gobert not being in really hurts, because they don't have that interior defender. So once you get past the perimeter defense, you're pretty much, if you can get past it, then you can pretty much do what you want in the lane.
Yeah, Gobert was averaging, 2 to 3 blocks a game.
Yep,
so
he's probably the leader.
Pretty big. Yeah, he should be the league leader right now.
Yeah. So maybe when Gobert gets back, we can see if Jazz can still be playoff contenders. I doubt it because the West is so loaded, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Last on top performers, and yeah, I really want to get in before we run out of time. I want to get in this Celtics debate with you and just talk about the East, throw some statistics at you. But another top performer, Kemba Walker, and I love seeing Kemba Walker get points because he's on my fantasy team. He's a member of Buxton 6, so 47 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists versus Chicago. So that's a solid game.
Yeah, that's a huge game.
That's
for
a
Kemba.
Star game. Solid. What am I saying? Yeah, that's a huge game.
Yeah, that's a huge game for Kemba.
Hornets
That's probably one of his best.
Hornets have been stumbling, and I guess we'll go right into the Eastern Conference with this. We'll just get right into the debate because, Kemba Walker and his Hornets, man, they haven't been playing well as of late. They had a few nice games this week so far. So maybe they'll turn it around, but there's no reason that Charlotte can't. There's no reason that Charlotte can't make a run at a playoff spot or, make some noise in the playoffs because they have the guys to do it.
Exactly.
They've had the guys to do it, but it's just a matter of developing. They have Batum back now. Dwight Howard had I forgot to mention Dwight Howard. He had a Orlando Magic-esque game.
Yeah, there you go.
25 points and 20 rebounds the other night. So if Dwight Howard can be old Dwight and not new one, which is going to be hard.
Yeah, they're still capable of doing it. And they got Frank the Tank over there, too.
Frank the Tank's been playing. He's been playing great.
Still got Kid Gilchrist,
Yep. Kid Gilchrist.
They got so much talent over there. They just got to figure out. It might be coaching. It might be the leadership right now.
No, but what's his name? Charlotte Hornets. I can't think of his name right now. But
who's that?
Guy's a great coach. Steve Clifford. Steve Clifford's a great coach, man. It's just been the personnel, I think. I think these players have had a hard time. I think in the NBA with Kemba, with a shoot-first point guard, it kind of makes you more predictable. It basically means you're putting up shots early shot clock. If you're not using the entire shot clock, that can really hurt you, especially if you don't make the threes that you're shooting. And Charlotte needs to buy in on defense, too. Right now, they're actually playing the Wizards, 63-56, early third quarter, so not exactly a defensive matchup, but that's the Wizards for you, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, if they've had some nice wins this year, but they've also...
They got a rough stretch here, too. Going against the Cavs on Friday and then the Spurs on Saturday. Yeah. Oh, man.
And then the Raptors.
Jeez.
The Heat, as much as the Heat have flown under the radar this year, the Heat's never easy with Hassan Whiteside. Then they get the Warriors next Wednesday, or not next Wednesday, the Wednesday after. So yeah, this is going to be a tester for Charlotte. Let's I want to read some statistics about. This was as of Saturday night. So right now, the top 8 teams in the East as of Saturday night are 32-16 versus the West, and this is why we want to make the case that the East is not as bad as we all think. I think the old adage of the East is trash, not old, but since the last couple of years, the East is trash. That's all I hear on the national media. The East is nowhere near the West, even Adam Silver getting rid of the conferences when it comes to all-star voting, that was his way of saying, okay, we want the best product in the field, but at some point this needs to be balanced out. So Boston is undefeated against the West. Toronto's 6-3, Detroit's 4-1, Cleveland's 2-2, Washington 2-2, Philadelphia 5-4, Milwaukee 4-2, New York 4-2. So let's look at some other wins the East has had. I mean, right now it's early season, but so far there's Boston's beat Golden State, Oklahoma City, and Milwaukee. All three of those were on the road. Toronto beat Houston on the road. They beat the Pelicans on the road, and they won versus Philadelphia. Detroit beat Golden State on the road. And I think that's early in the season when Golden State was kind of just warming up. But still, a win against Golden State at the Oracle is
it's pretty big.
Joke.
It's pretty big.
They've had seasons where they only win or they only lose like 2 games at the Oracle. So I think one of the last few seasons they were trying to go undefeated, weren't they, at home?
Yeah,
probably that 73-9 year.
I think they only lost 2 games at home that year.
Yeah, 2 games. But and then the top 8 West teams versus the East. The West, the top 8 West. Again, this is as of Saturday, so it might have changed. But they were 31-23 versus the East. Now you'd think with all the talent or lack thereof in the East, as so many people have said, that record would be a lot higher, and the East would struggle to win any games, even against other like lowly West opponents, like say the Suns or whatever. But Memphis is 0-4. Again, they've really been in a free fall lately since Mike Conley went down, but Memphis will be right back in the playoff mix. Houston and Golden State haven't really had an issue. They're both 6-2, but Minnesota 2-2, San Antonio 5-4, Denver 6-3, Portland 2-3. So the records haven't been that bad, but I just expected them to be winning more games against the East if what everyone says about the East is true, which that's why I'm saying it's not. So you have Boston after the Gordon Hayward injury. A lot of people wrote them off. You want to get back into that Celtics debate? Let's do it. So the Celtics with... So where did we leave off before with this?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure we were finished. It is
really,
yeah.
Well,
I mean, because as of right now, we're not going to be able to argue it. It's just it's just a wait and see. I don't think Boston's going to hold on to number 1 seed the entire year. I don't think they're going to stay under a 30-loss season, 30 to 40-loss season. They're going to lose games. They're going to go on a stretch of just losing streak. But right now they figured
16 though? Do you think they'll lose 16 straight?
I wouldn't say 16 straight.
Right.
They're gonna go on a couple of losing streaks before the end of the season. Right now they're hot and they figured it out.
I'm gonna say this,
but again, once it comes to a 7-game series, even look at the teams that they lost to. LeBron and they lost to Cleveland. They lost to the Bucks. When it comes to 7-game series, they can lose to any of those teams.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. If they've won 16 already, I'm going to say if they don't win 50, it's a failure for that team. They better win 50 games if they're going to win 16 right now. Here's the other thing with the NBA. You lose 20 and you win 20. It's the other 40 that makes the difference. So let's add 20 in each column. So you add 20 in each column. That makes Boston Celtics at 36-22.
Sure.
So even if they play 500 the rest of the year, then let's see, 46 or 36-22. That's 58 games. So that means they have 24 left. So they go 12-12 the rest of the year. That would leave them at 36 and...
Not 36. It'd be 48 and...
Oh, yeah, you're right. 48 and 20, 34.
34, yeah.
Which is still 2 games under, so they can play 500 ball and still win 48s, and that's why runs like this, where it's 16 straight games, really help your
case.
Yeah,
it's very key.
And
it's
they're going to heat up towards the end of the season once they see Cleveland.
We don't know that though. We can't just assume that. Why can't we assume that?
Because it's
what on that team makes you assume that? Who has the experience other than Kyrie Irving on that team that makes you? He hasn't had late playoff push experience since when? He's played on Atlanta that's got put out in the first and second round almost every single year.
Still playoff experience.
Yeah, he's got playoff experience. He's a veteran. Okay, you name 2 players. Name the rest of the team. You know what I'm saying?
Smart.
Marcus Smart doesn't have any playoff experience other than last year.
Well, I think with Marcus Smart's defense, dude, this is a Brad Stevens team. I'm going to put all my chips in.
And what playoff experience does he have other than last year?
He has last year, but he also has so many.
That's what I'm saying.
Coached so many Butler teams through huge.
We're talking
NCAA.
College basketball versus the NBA.
It's sure, and since you could still argue that the NCAA, those games are even more high pressure than the NBA.
No, not at all.
Yes, because your school, you're going in a team of 64 where anyone can beat anyone. It's upsets.
Anybody can beat anybody in the NBA.
You're not going to have these players next year.
There's a reason this is the National Basketball League compared to the National College Basketball League.
I know.
It's completely different levels.
I'm not saying based on talent, but I'm saying
all I'm saying. Brad Stevens is a very good coach, and that's all. That's the most credit that I'll give to the Celtics. He's a very good coach, but he himself will not get them over that limit. The players have to. Kyrie Irving and Al Horford, once it comes down to crunch time in the playoffs, game 5, 6, and 7 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who has almost the most experience in the playoffs, in the East. Who on that team other than those 2 are going to step up to have a huge game?
Okay, well, here with your argument based on playoff experience, what about the other teams in the East? What playoff experience do they have compared to Boston and Cleveland?
Who, like the Wizards and the Raptors that's been almost to the Eastern Conference Finals almost every single year. They get to almost to the Eastern Conference Finals every year. Almost.
Though
that's more than the Celtics.
Got swept by Cleveland.
That's more than the Celtics team that's bringing in rookies trying to bring them to the championship.
Well, they've already been playing better than most of the veterans in this league. But
You're talking about 18 games here.
I know.
Okay. When are you going to realize this? I've brought this up week after week. When are you going to realize that this first half of the season does not matter? A lot of teams after the All-Star break will go on a losing streak. A lot of teams will go on a winning streak. And the season changes.
But it's not as bad.
Again, I'll bring it up once again. Miami Heat, when LeBron first got to that team, the Miami Heat went on a terrible losing streak. And they were just looking terrible. They were looking bad. People didn't even think they were going to make it to the finals. And then what happened after All-Star break? They went on, a 25, 26, 27 game winning streak. You know what I'm saying? The season is going to change, no matter if you like it or not. After All-Star break,
it's going to change. It's
going to switch around. And any team is going to be up in the air. What I'm saying is I have no confidence in Boston finishing the way they started. That's what I'm saying.
They're not going to win 70 games. I know that. They're not going to win 70 games.
Well, no, I'm not even saying that much. I'm just saying I don't even know if they'll make it past 55 or 60. I don't think they'll make it that far.
I think they'll be in the lower 50s, but I think what you thought I was saying is that they'd win 70 games and they would be in the finals, Golden State. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I am confident that they will be in the Eastern Conference Finals and it will be a great series.
I'm not anywhere close to confident of them making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. There's so many teams that can beat them out to make it to the Conference Finals.
Yes. They could.
And we're even saying that about Cleveland right now. But at the end of the day, we know they're going to be there.
Right.
But, it's so many teams. The Wizards, the Raptors, the Bucks. That's just it's so many teams that can beat them out to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. There's no guarantee in Boston right now.
No, there's not a guarantee.
Let
another
player drop. Any player on the team, it can be the starting small forward. It could be Jaylen Brown. Let any player on that team go down. Who's going to step up to push them over the top? I don't think they have that. They got Kyrie. But, you know, what do you go after that? You can't rely on a 40-year-old Al Horford. You know, like, that's not going to get it done. 15 and 10 isn't going to get it done to win the games.
Right.
He's going to produce some solid minutes and play some solid defense and put up some good points, but they don't have those players. That's what I keep telling people. That's what I keep telling you. They got those two players. They've got, you know, your average players. These Marcus Smarts and these Jaylen Browns and these Tatums are average. These are average NBA players. When you're going up against 3 superstars in the NBA plus their solid bench, what are you going to do? So Brad Stevens is going to get them to that point where they're gonna click. You know, it's going to be a certain point in the game where they just go off on a scoring spree or whatever, and they're going to make it to the playoffs. I'll give them the playoffs this year for sure. But after that, we don't know what's going to happen in a 7-game series.
We don't know.
I don't. Yeah, okay. Well, we don't know. I don't like I said, I don't believe that they're gonna hang on to how good they're doing right now in the beginning of the season and at the end of the season, and not even just the season. When it comes to playoffs in these 7-game series, they're not gonna do that well.
I still think they have a better chance I think they have a better chance than Cleveland, or not Cleveland, sorry, than Toronto and Washington. I honestly believe
I can't automatically give them that. As soon as Gordon Hayward went down, we were, you know, okay, now we'll give them a game or two after that. We still thought they weren't going to even make the playoffs. So we were debating on if they were going to make the playoffs. Yeah. So they go on a few game winning streak. We've seen the Nuggets. We've seen the Denver Nuggets go on a 16 to 18 game winning streak before. Did we ever count them as they're going to make it to the Western Conference Finals? No. Even if they were in the East, they still didn't make it to they would have made it that year. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's none. This is not guaranteed. Do not look at this winning streak and just assume that they're going to be in the finals, in the conference finals.
And I've thought about this a lot. And with the winning streak, the thing that speaks out to me is, the reason I don't think it's sustainable, this level of play, is because they've been getting, you know, those random performances from other guys on
exactly.
the team. So they get, you know, a good game from Jaylen Brown. And then Jason Tatum steps. But that's also
which don't get me wrong, that comes apart as a good team. When other players can step up, but at the same time, you still need some consistency. You need to know that if LeBron's not going to drop 30, that Kevin Love can step up and drop 25 to 30 for sure. And they know that. You know, teams like that know that. But there's no security in Boston right now.
Don't you think, though, that they could use...
They don't have that Gordon Hayward where you could just rely on him.
Sure, but I think what could help them in the playoffs, now this is all, you know, speculation and hypotheticals, but they could have that night where Tatum totally catches someone off guard. Let's say Kyrie's doing his normal thing and everyone's focused on Kyrie. Well, here maybe Rozier could be jacking up threes from the corner and he gets hot. You know, it's just, if someone gets hot, you feed them and you go to them, and who's expecting Rozier to get hot?
And but that's, it could happen. That's the thing, though. We're not banking when it comes to a 7-game series. You're not banking on who can get hot. You're banking on, hey, you know, Steph Curry, you're getting 25 shots a game tonight. You gotta make, you know, so a certain amount of shots. You gotta push us forward right here. We know we can rely on you, and if we don't rely on you, we know we can rely on Kevin Durant. You know, like, but when it comes to Boston, you don't know if Kyrie Irving is off a night. Who's your next go-to? Not maybe, not a maybe, not a possibility. We're talking about who's the next superstar to step up and say, "Hey, I'm going to drop 25 to 30 points tonight."
They don't have that.
They don't.
They don't have that. And if Kyrie
now,
goes
like
down,
I said, right
done.
now, they're fine. They're playing good basketball. Even if they go on a losing streak, they still got
This is why
playoff chance. But at the end of the day, you know, that's just not something you can hang your hat on. It's like, everybody's playing well right now. No, we need somebody to step up in big minutes, you know, and put in some big clock.
So what we can take from this I'm more or less buying into the Celtics hype. You're not, and I think that's great, man.
Yeah.
And mine has a
and
little asterisk.
you're also buying into the LeBron or the Cleveland not doing so well train.
Well,
and
no, not anymore. I was wrong. I'll admit that. But I like, I'm just like, I was listening to the morning show on the Fan this morning, and Bart was saying how he makes these weird predictions, like when he says the Packers are guaranteed to win the NFC North, and then now we know, the Vikings are more of the favorite now. But he says these things because if he's right, then he looks like a genius. But if he's wrong, then it's just a homer, and
true.
It's like so. Maybe I'm kind of adopting that, but yeah, man. I do think if Kyrie goes down, the Boston.
Well, it's not even just Kyrie. Is if any of those pieces that are playing the way they are right now go down,
right?
Who's going to be next to step up? And I just don't foresee any player off of that bench stepping in and play big minutes. Other than even Marcus Smart. He's going to wear himself down. We've seen players like him all the time, Deshaun Stevenson and Lance Stevenson, and just players that have a lot of hype around them throughout the season. They get to the playoffs and then they just choke, or they don't do as well and they don't provide for their team.
And I guess I want to ask you before we send everyone off here and wish them a happy Thanksgiving, I want to ask you then, do you think that there is a team besides Cleveland in the East who can make a run at Golden State? Do you think Boston can be that team?
I'll tell you one thing, and I truly stand behind this, and this isn't just me, like a LeBron, because I am sort of a LeBron fan. I'll give you that. But
I know you are.
There's no team in the East that stands a chance against the Golden State. There's no team in the East other than the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have built their team around to beat Golden State, to beat a team of that caliber. That there's just nobody there. There's no team with 4 or 5 superstars on the team that can step up at any time in a game.
Right.
Even if you noticed last year, and the year before, all of Cleveland and Golden State, not all of them, most of their series has been close. It's not been like a complete blowout, like maybe 1 or 2 games each year. But, they know how to compete with each other. They've been to that level before, and they know what they're doing. But if you get a team like Toronto or the Washington Wizards to go to the finals,
they might take one.
They might not even take one. They might get swept.
I think they'll take one when their first one at home. Because
I doubt it. That's what I'm saying. That's just how much playoff and finals experience is so key in the NBA right now. That's why you see a lot of players on Golden State and Cleveland kind of taking it easy throughout the year until they get to the playoffs. Right. And then they turn it on. They turn it on to a whole new level. It's because they know. They know, like, okay, we're going to be back here. We just got to, we got to pace ourselves.
All right, I think we're going to finish up on that. Happy Turkey Day, everyone. Tonight, if you're out drinking, be safe. I know a lot of people like to get drunk the night before Thanksgiving, but make the right decision. Call someone to get a driver. We don't want people out on the roads, doing that. Obviously, same old. But yeah, I feel like you can't say it enough.
And leave us your comments of your addresses next to the post so we can stop by for a Thanksgiving plate.
Yeah, I'd
be down for that.
I mean, I know I'll have a couple rounds in me,
Anybody got some deep fried turkey? Let me know. That'll be the first stop.
Extra pumpkin pie, any of that stuff, man. All right, we're out of here. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you on Monday again.
Peace.
Milwaukee's best NBA podcast. Have a good one. Peace.